her too, but he never did go see her because he was supposed to go see her. He never did go see her. He came to his senses enough, I guess, not to go see her. But you were still entertaining this young lady with hopes. And then she sees me on your Facebook page and you're getting ready to marry me. And she's like, well, wait a minute. You know what I'm saying? So I got through that. He begged and pleaded, oh, I'm sorry, this will never happen again, blah, blah, blah. Well, I get over, I forgive. Took me a while, but I forgive him. I end up getting married because, again, I had been engaged like by this point 3 or 4 times. They called me the runaway bride. So by this point I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna do it. Everybody else do it and get over it. Everybody goes through things. I done prayed for a lot of my friends for their marriages, and they're still married 20, 15, 13 plus years. Oh, I can do it. I can get over it. Yeah, he's not everything that I would want in a husband or a mate, but he loves me. You know, maybe he'll be a good provider. He'll be able to help with my son. You know, my son will be able to have someone, a male in the house that he can glean from and learn from, because they both love sports. And so that was important to me. I wanted my son to have somebody he can identify with as well. So anyway, get married. Everything that he promised, he wasn't. You know, he pretty much did what he needed to do and said what he needed to say to get me.
Come on.
And after he got me, the flowers that he was sending every week to the job, making the other women jealous, I stopped getting those. I didn't even get flowers. I said, so how am I treated better as your girlfriend than I am as your wife? Like, that's crazy to me.
That's crazy.
So within about 6 months of the marriage, he decided he was going to take a job in Florida after moving me and my children to Texas. You know, leaving us in Texas, no man's land, no job, no nothing. You up and leave us there. Okay. This is where God stepped in and showed his hand, because right when we had to get ready to move out, my mother flew up to help out, to keep me kind of sane. And right when he did that, it was like I couldn't find a job the whole time he was there. I'm sitting in my resume. I started getting really, really just depressed. I went through it. And so finally, this lady reached out to me and she told me to come in for an interview. And I interviewed and I was completely honest with her. Like, I'm not from here. She's like, what brought you here? I told her my whole story, my spiel. She called me back. She said, I had many candidates, because I had never been a property manager. I've been in property management, but I had never been a property manager. She gave me a property manager's job, making more money than I was making here.
Come on.
You know, and so I was looking for a place to stay because we had to hurry up. I'm getting these letters on the door. He ain't paid none of the utility bills to keep us there. He hadn't paid the rent. We were in a corporate apartment, which basically that was, we can only stay there if he still worked for the company.
Right.
He didn't work for the company anymore. You abruptly left the company. So we had to be out in about 2 or 3 weeks. God stepped in right on time. I got an apartment within the week that we were supposed to be out. It was a better apartment than I was living in with him. So,
Come on, Jesus.
He stepped in, and I mean, he just worked miracles. When I tell you, he said, I have to remind you of who you are. You are mine and you are favored.
Yes.
He said he just didn't know who you were, but you're mine. You're favored. And I stayed there for 6 more months, you know, working, rebuilding the property. It was so good. So I turned the property around in such a way that the owner called me, and you know, he was going to give me more money to stay, and even found a way to fly me home if I was a little homesick.
Wow, look at God.
But I come back here, get that testimony, and I come back here, and now me and my kids are homeless. We don't have anything. I don't have a job again. I got to start all over from ground zero. I mean, literally nothing. When I tell you nothing but a car. And then a few months later, me and my daughter get in a car accident, so my car is totaled. So now you gotta get a new car.
Right.
You gotta get a new place. You gotta get everything. But God is so faithful.
God, yes.
Because so much had happened. And one day I got to my aunt's house to visit my son, because he had to stay there because I had no solid place for him to stay so he can continue school. And God is so faithful. My aunt handed me some mail and nothing else to throw in my face, you know. So that happened. And God was he was just so faithful. Whew. And I meet this wonderful lady. I meet Prophetess Alicia through one of my co-workers. She has an Unstoppable Women's Conference. I knew of Stephanie Jennings. I knew of your apostle. He came to my church before that I was here in Atlanta. But the crazy thing was, she had me and her on the conference call the same night, right? So she did not see me. She can only hear my voice. I get to the conference and she's speaking. She runs from the front of the room to the back of the room and grabbed me, and she says, God says you're coming out of hiding and he's about to take you from the back to the front. And like literally I felt everything that she was saying, because when she told me, she said, you've been through it. You've been hidden. But now it's time for you to come out.
Woo.
You got purpose and you have a word in your belly.
Come on.
And I still have that picture. So even with my release date with my book, I was like, well, God, why can't I release it on my birthday? Why is November? Why is this date so significant? And he said that was the date that, I called you out. I prophesied and I spoke this date.
Come on.
And so when he gave it to me, I just could not believe it. He was like, you got to tell your story.
Yes.
You got to tell your story.
You have to tell, and I love it. Thank you so much for just coming here today as you share your story, because even now I just sense in the realm of the spirit that there may be women or even men that's in bad relationships where they seeing all type of red flags. Can you just take just a couple of minutes and just minister to them?
You got to love yourself more than you love the fact of a lot of people like the fact of a title or a status. You got to love yourself above that, because you have to think about it. If you don't love you, how can you expect anybody else to love you? If you don't enjoy you, how can you expect anybody else to enjoy you? You have to know what you bring to the table, fully to the table, before you can invite somebody else to sit at the table with you. Because if not, if all you have is what this person is bringing to the table, when that person leaves, they're going to leave you broken. They're going to leave you without anything left. So you have to know that you are valuable. You have to know your worth. Before you get in a relationship, I will suggest canceling. If you've been through anything in life that you know that has you to a point where you know that you've been covering stuff up, you've been trying to get other distractions in, find a place of wholeness and go seek out counseling. Not just spiritual counseling, professional counseling as well. Spiritual counseling is good, but you should also try to seek out professional counseling and get to a place to where you love you and you can celebrate you, that you're whole with or without someone.
Yes, that you're whole with or without someone. Well, you guys, listen, we're getting ready to take a quick commercial break, but I don't want you to go anywhere. Make sure that you keep it locked right here. You are listening to The Conversation with Maria Byrd.
Thank you for tuning in to The Conversation with Maria Byrd.
So let's have this conversation
On WIGO 1570 AM radio.
You can connect with Maria Byrd here Fridays on The Conversation at 11 a.m. Go to www.mariabyrd.org. You can sign up for her newsletter. Check out the latest from The Conversation. You can be the next guest, have your song featured, or donate to the cause. Learn about marketing opportunities. Check out the giveaways, special promotions, free tickets, and the latest from Maria Byrd Publications. Again, log on to www.mariabyrd.org. That's www.mariabyrd.org.
Delicious Delights announcement. Christie's Heavenly Peach Cobbler, where tasteful creations begin, is available to satisfy your appetite. Get your vegan-friendly cobbler today with a variety of flavors, including peach cobbler, strawberry cobbler, blackberry cobbler, cherry cobbler, and dough cobbler. To purchase your vegan-friendly cobblers today, please connect with Christy Barnes on Instagram at Christie's_cobbler. That's KRISTIS_cobbler. Also, call her at 404-579-4071.
Stop by Salon M. Lynn at their new Austell location, 2495 East-West Connector, Suite 70, Austell, Georgia 30106. Shampoo, style, cuts, color, braiding, and so much more. Mention you learned about Salon M. Lynn on The Conversation with Maria Byrd and receive 20% off your first visit. Book an appointment today. Follow Salon M. Lynn on Instagram or call 678-214-5332. That's 678-214-5332.
Yeah! This song's for all my praisers out there. Listen. Without the blood of Jesus, there will be no remission of sin. We overcome by the blood, by the word of a testimony. On the cross, he hung his head, he died, he gave his life for me. Our Lord and Savior, he reigns forever. All of my fears are gone. Yeah, yeah. Nobody else could have. And I am grateful. without the blood of Jesus, there
would be no remission of sin.
we overcome by the blood and the word
of our testimony.
On the cross, he died, he gave
Come on, Sean,
you say. There is a fountain that's filled with blood. Said it's drawn from Emmanuel's vein. Yeah. And sinners plunged, they plunge beneath that blood. Said it loosens all their guilt. Just hey, oh the blood, oh the blood. See they hung him high now, and they switched him up.
Conversation with Maria Byrd.
So let's have this conversation
On WIGO 1570 AM radio.
What's up, you guys? Welcome back. You are listening to The Conversation with Maria Byrd. You just heard a powerful song, The Blood Song, by Chris Bender, featuring Deshandra Perry of the world-renowned group James Fortune and Fire. And guess what, you guys? It came out today. So I want you to make sure that you go pick it up. It's available on all streaming platforms. Be sure to check it out. Delicious Delights announcement. Christie's Heavenly Peach Cobbler, where tasteful creations begin, is available to satisfy your appetite. Get your vegan-friendly cobbler today with a variety of flavors, including peach cobbler, strawberry cobbler, blackberry cobbler, and cherry cobbler, and dough cobbler, just to name a few. And so you guys, make sure that you check it out. Me and my husband, we had the awesome opportunity to connect and meet the owner, Christy Burns. And let me tell you, OMG, you guys, we had the strawberry cobbler. It was absolutely delicious. Not too sweet, I'm telling you, you guys. And did I say it was vegan friendly?
Wow.
So you guys, make sure that you connect with her. She is on Instagram at Christie's _cobbler. That's KRISTIS _cobbler. You can also give her a phone call at 404-579-4071. Get your vegan friendly cobblers today. Well, you guys, we are back with my very special guest, Mintoria Webb. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
Yes, and before the break, OMG, woman of God, you were just really breaking it down as it relates to your testimony, your awesome book, Broken Pieces, and how God knows how to put back the pieces together again. And, you know, one of the things I love about your testimony is that you are an awesome mother.
Thank you.
You are a mother. And so can you just share with us regarding motherhood?
With motherhood, I say when I didn't understand motherhood or I didn't appreciate my mother until I had my own kids. Because children do not come with instructions. They do not come with manuals.
Talk about this.
They are all different. What works for one child may not work for the other child, like especially teenagers.
Right.
I'm still in the process of learning teenagers, you know, because you've been a teenager and I know I've been hurt and dealing with the rejection. Even going from at 16 being diagnosed as a manic depressant, being put on medication.
Come on, talk
saying
about
that I
this.
would never be able to function a normal life without medicine. The devil is such a liar because you know what God did? I tried to overdose on it. And with me trying to overdose on it caused me to, my mother have to keep it with her. And after a while, I was just like, you know what? I'm not taking this stuff because that medicine suppresses your emotions.
Wow.
Even the good emotions, the bad ones. You want to feel those things. You want to be normal. You want to have a normal life.
Right.
So I just learned how to cope early without having the medications. Was everything always perfect? No, of course not. That's how Broken Pieces came to place. But would I say that with motherhood, sometimes you don't always feel like you got it, you get it. You know, I think I'm more of a aggressive mother because I always wanted my children to do better than I did. I always didn't want them to ever feel like, I felt like if I had more of people in my corner to push me, to tell me I was great, to tell me I could go to college, to tell me I could succeed at doing this, that not only are you pretty, but you're smart, you're intelligent, you know, I feel like I would have had a different turn out of events. But so I did that with my children. I try to push them to be in their best self, and sometimes they don't like it. Sometimes it's overbearing, but that's the mother that I am. I'm overbearing for now, you know, and I told them later on we may be friends. Right now you may not like me, but later on we'll be friends. But now with my 9-year-old, that's totally different. I had him older in life. They say he get away with a lot more than, you know, what they got away with, but also he is like, when I look at him, I'm just amazed because at 2 years old, he was diagnosed with autism after his 2-year-old shots. So he lost being able to speak, you know, just the normal things that he was able to do. He was sick a lot. So to see him overcome, to see God so faithful with healing him, is still a work in process because he's not all the way where he should be. But I thank God that he is there to be able to say sentences and tell me what he wants. And even some of the things, you know, he catches me off guard with saying, so I have no choice but to laugh because he is so brilliant.
Yes.
His mind is just so brilliant.
And you know, I love this.
So
and thank you so
brilliant.
much again for your transparency. You know, there may be someone that's listening that they're parents.
Right.
Can you just encourage them?
Just never give up. You know, especially being in church or trying to be used by God in our platform.
That's good.
Sometimes our children can feel like the enemy is just using them to come in and to distract us. Because I kid you not, it feels like every time I'm getting ready to do something or God is releasing me into purpose, I deal with something and it has to come from my children. You can't really get me any other way besides my children because I love my children with everything in me, my heart. That's my kids, you know. So they will come and you will say, well, God, you know, why is so-and-so kids able to do this and they're doing that? And it's a purpose because, see, your kids are also called according to a purpose and their destiny. In the same way you had to go down your trail and your path, they have to go through theirs. And sometimes we don't understand their path and we try to get in the way and we try to stop it because we feel like we know what's best for them, and you know, we want to block them from going through it or experiencing some of the hurts and some of the loss that we experience, but we can't. We have to allow them to grow up, and I think that's the hardest thing, is releasing your children.
Wow.
Releasing them into the hands of God who created them and gave them to you, because really those children are just borrowed, you know. They belong to him first. And so sometimes you just feel like, oh God, you try not to compare your kids to anyone else. I have to find, I'm talking to myself. You can't look at your children and measure them according to someone else's, because you know what, my kids, I had to think about it, my kids may be like me.
Yes.
They may be a late bloomer, you know, they may be blooming late, and you know, they're still going to bloom.
That's it.
Flowers bloom differently. So you can't compare your kids of what stage of life they are compared to your girlfriends, their cousins, their friends, because your kids can turn around and they may go to college, but your kids may come out being a CEO.
Come on.
Or in the company that their children work for. You know what I'm saying? You just never know the plans of God. So don't give up, even if you have a special needs child. I heard everything up under the sun that he would never be able to do. They never told me what he would do. They were so focused on telling me what he wasn't going to be able to do. And let me tell you something. Daniel defines all odds. I mean, literally, I got in his ear every night and I prayed and I would speak to his spirit and I would call it forth. You're going to come back, but you're going to come back 7 times greater than you ever were before. You know, and this little boy is so special. He's so amazing. He's just incredible to me.
Yes.
Like, he was sick last night. If it wasn't for my aunt coming to get him and taking him to the doctor, I couldn't be here to do what I need to do. But God will always put people in place to help you. Like, to just make sure the assignment is carried out, because the assignment is so great. The enemy he's on a warpath. Like, every time I get ready to do something is an attack with my children.
Wow.
So you have to just see that it's the enemy and continue to pray and speak life over them.
Yes.
They're going to make mistakes. You have to forgive them. And I'm preaching to the choir.
Come
I'm talking
on,
to myself.
help us.
You got to forgive them. You got to understand that you made mistakes.
Yes.
And sometimes I know it's hard because you don't want them to live the life that you live. And I know that's my story. Like, I don't want you to repeat anything that I repeated. You know what I'm saying? My desire was for each of my children to be married and then have children, to know what that feels like, because I never had a planned or happy pregnancy. You know, all my pregnancies was like, oops. You know, even though it was an oops to me, it wasn't an oops to God, because they had a purpose for coming into this world. But it was an oops to me. Mm-hmm. It wasn't with the husband. I don't know that feeling. I will never know that feeling of how it feels to give birth to a child that's in a covenant. That you guys have to share the same last name, that you know for sure you're going to go home and be in the house with mama and daddy. You know, I don't know that feeling. And so that was always my prayer, that they would never have to feel what I felt. They would never feel, even the children that's coming through, my grandchildren would never be feeling the feeling of abandonment or rejection. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So it's very difficult sometimes being a parent, because you want so much for your kids.
Right. So we just speak another level of grace upon all the parents that's listening or watching. Grace to raise your children, because I love how you said it. Every child is different.
Every one of them.
Every child is different. Wow, I love it. And woman of God, your awesome book is here. Broken Pieces, a true story of overcoming opposition. Find your purposeful faith. I love it. Yes. Can you tell the people, where can they purchase this book?
You can go to my website at www.prettypowerfulandprothetic.com. It is also on Amazon, Walmart, almost anywhere that you can purchase books. Right now, I think Amazon may be the cheapest. Me and Amazon, because you can go through my website and order it, but right now it's at $22 for the book. It's a pretty thick book. So it's filled with transparency and life's lessons, so hopefully somebody can learn from theirs, and hopefully it'll even encourage other people to share their stories, because we all have something we've been through and we've dealt with. So hopefully it will encourage you not to hold back and share your testimony, because we are overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony, and somebody needs to hear your story. Your story is connected to someone else. Don't hold back. Don't let fear, shame of what the devil is saying and telling you that it ain't going to help. Because when I was writing the book, it was like, well, who's going to read my story? Who's going to care? And, you know, I've sold many copies now of this book. So many people want to read your story. Many people want to be encouraged. You know, in a world full of negativity, some people just want to be encouraged and to know that even though you go through the storm, even though you go through all of this chaos in life, there is still a light at the end of the tunnel, and the light is Jesus. And if you don't give up on yourself and you don't give up on God, God won't give up on you. It's never too late to start either. For somebody that's out there talking about, oh, well, you know, my time is past. Your time is not past. You just got to continue to pursue the purpose. Get up every day, pray and seek the Lord like never before. He's going to tell you what you're supposed to be doing.
Yes, he will tell you. And oftentimes I tell people all the time, because, you know, there, like you said, there is different misconceptions that the enemy will try to place out there, like, oh, you know, I can't be an author. I don't have anything to say. I don't have any revelation. But, you know, a group of authors is not this group of elitists. And, you know, do you have a story? Do you have everyone has a story, a testimony, a life experience.
Right.
Write it down.
There you go. And you don't know who is going to help. Don't worry. I had many people, when I told people I was writing a book, they were like, okay, you're right. You know, so I was asking them, can I use your name in the book? I just want to make sure it's okay for me to tell my story that you are a part of, you know?
Right.
So I'm going to tell my story. Oh, yeah, okay. But when it came out and it's like it's a real book and people are reading, it's like, oh, you used my real name. Well, you told me, you gave me permission to use your name.
And see, that's big too. That's big too, because you mentioned earlier about how oftentimes fear will grip us.
Yes.
You know, and I know why sometimes people don't tell their testimony, they don't tell their story because they worried about other people.
Right, it is.
That's connected to it. But can you just talk about the significance of being free from people?
Oh my God, it is it's so liberating. Let me tell you, God had me to write this book. I didn't even read it before. I was just writing. I had all my feelings because I had to go back in and I buried so much stuff. And see, we get so distracted with everything else in the world that we forget before.
That's the truth.
Before we heal from another thing, we get ourselves into something else.
That's
and
right.
so then you got another process. That's where those pieces come from. Those broken pieces come from, because you didn't heal from that wound, and you go and start dealing with something else, and they leave another wound. So you got all these open wounds. You know what I'm saying? So they just festering. You know what I'm saying? And like the man of God was saying that I was listening to, you anointed, but you're still infected. You know what I'm saying? You still got all of this in you that you're not telling. And a lot of times people even marry people on a preconceived notions. They don't really know who you are. They are married to your representative.
Yes.
Because they didn't know that you were molested. They didn't know that you used to be beaten in your last relationship, because you cover everything up with makeup and everything else. You make everything look so beautiful and so perfect, because you feel like if I ever tell people who I really am, they wouldn't accept me.
Yes.
Especially in the body of Christ. We are taught to know, don't look like what you're going through. Don't look like you're going through. You know what I'm saying? Keep your stuff to yourself, because you out of fear of what people are going to say about you. And yes, people can be judgmental. People can say some of the harsh things. I experienced that. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, those bricks that they're throwing at you, God is going to use those bricks for your platform.
Yes.
He said, when he says all things, Romans 8:28, are working together for your good, he meant that.
Yes.
So you got to take the good with the bad, but don't you get in people bondage and afraid to share your story because of people. People are going to talk about you whether you're doing good.
Now that's the
and
truth.
people are going to talk about you whether you're doing bad.
That
So
is
if
the
you
point.
if you stay in this thing trying to people please and trying to make everything look according to how someone else told you you're supposed to look, you're not going to go far.
You're not gonna go far. We have to get free and delivered from people.
You got to be authentic. Stop looking at these reality shows and thinking that this is real life. 'Cause that's not real life. If they showed you their real life, man, it would take more than an hour.
Come on.
Behind the scenes, where everybody makes if those things are edited. Your life can't be edited like that. You know what I'm saying? If everybody recorded you and had you, they gonna edit some stuff on yours too.
That's the truth.
You know, but
and this reminds me of a documentary that I saw. You know, Whitney Houston had a documentary that recently came out, and just from looking at that documentary, she was depressed.
Yes,
she would come on stage crying, come off stage crying,
and need drugs to cope. Anytime you can function with drugs, you're not healthy. Anytime it takes drugs for you to function normally,